Imagine, I think it was about 6 a.m. when I finally reached the beach in Japan. I had been walking for maybe 2 hours from the city center and finally arrived on the beach, crashed there, and simply fell asleep, only to be woken up by some guy picking up random bottles on the beach around 7:30 a.m. Yes, that's the kind of experience I used to have in the past when I was traveling, and that was when I was like 18 years old. And since then, I kind of have found better ways to sleep for free when I'm traveling. So let me share those with you today. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, guys, and welcome to a new Travel Thursday episode. Today we're talking about 3 ways to sleep for free no matter where in the world. Number 1, asking friends of friends. Now that might sound completely stupid and obvious, but I want to tell you something. Facebook has this functionality called search. I know, right? It's counterintuitive. People actually Google Facebook before search. Anyway, so when you're on Facebook, there's this search and you can actually type friends who live in, and you type in the city that you want or the country, and it's gonna pull up all your list of friends and maybe friends of friends who live actually in the country where you're going or in the city. Now you might have not spoken to them in a long time, but what I recommend is just hit them up and ask them if they can host you, if they know someone who can host you. That's a great way to start it off. And maybe you don't like to stay at people's house, that's perfectly fine, but if you're going to a new country, the best way to discover the way people live there, the culture, and the best places to hang out in, actually, which is the most important, is actually to hang out with locals. This is basically the first technique you should try, is always reach within your network to people you might know. Number 2, if you don't have an awesome network of people around the world, this is my second tip. Tap into a network. That network can be, for example, Couchsurfing. If you've never heard of the Couchsurfing project, it's basically a nonprofit that has this awesome website of people ready to host other people. So let's say you're living in New York, well, you can say, I'm ready to host people, and people will come in, crash, you're gonna have a good time with them, or not, I don't know, it depends on who, you have to filter. And then when you're traveling, other people have their home open and they might be happy to receive you. Personally, I've had incredible experiences when I couch surfed. Yeah, it's now a verb, you can use it as a verb. I've met like incredible people. For example, in Colombia, I stayed with that family for a week. They took me actually to their coffee farm. They showed me everything around. They shared openly everything about their family, their life, their friends, their party, everything. It was incredible. Now, there was this other example, which is really not long ago. I went to St. Louis. I stayed with this awesome couple and they hosted me. And then they put me in touch with someone else here in New York, and that built up my first connections in New York. And this is an incredible way to build a network, know more people locally, and actually just expand your network all over the world. People are usually afraid of couch surfing because they're like, I don't want to go to a stranger, I don't know them, I don't feel comfortable. That's perfectly fine. Now there is one thing to know: if you hosted someone or if they hosted you, they are going to review you and say if you're nice, if you're not nice, if you're crazy or not. So it's a great way to check and understand people's personality before. You can also dig into their Facebook profiles. So you can do a lot of background checks before getting anywhere or receiving anyone, and that's very important. Don't hesitate to use it, but remember, it's a community sharing thing, so don't abuse it. This is not free housing in a sense. Just be open, mindful, bring a nice bottle of wine, and spend a good time and share cool experiences with that person. And it goes the same way if you're hosting. Third technique, if you don't like staying with people, you want to be in a hostel or somewhere like that, I highly recommend to approach them and ask them if you can trade your skills for a night or 2 or 3 or months. It depends on how good you are and what your skills are and what they need also. If you're a photographer, you can easily actually use your skills as a photographer to take pictures of the place in exchange of nights. If you're an influencer, maybe you can tweet about them. Basically, it's really an exchange of services, right? You're doing something for them, and if they value it as much as the nights in their place, well, this is how you can trade. The better you skill, the better the hotel. It's just like anything in life. If you're junior or like super expert at something, people will pay you differently. And it goes the same way for an exchange of services. You can approach like higher profile people if your skills are really high. And so those are the 3 techniques you can use to stay for free absolutely anywhere in this world. Now, going back to my story in Japan, how did it start? Actually, I went to Fukuoka, that town in south of Japan, and I was like, you know what, I want to go to the beach. So I left in the morning from Osaka. I went there, and then at night I'm like, it's okay, I'll find a way to go somewhere to sleep. But actually I was on the beach, and I'm like, if there is something happening, it must be in the city center. Maybe I will find friends, I don't know. I went to the city center, and I basically spent like 2-3 hours just wandering, meeting no one. I would see the buildings, and you know, in Japan, like, you don't have like open doors easily. It's like everything is in like the different floors, and it's difficult to get to understand. So I couldn't even get in a bar easily. So I just resigned myself to walk back to the beach. What I did not realize is that it was like almost a 2-hour walk from the center of Fukuoka to the beach, or at least that's how I remembered it. And by the time I arrived on the beach, it was like 6 a.m. A lot of people had a party the whole night there, and I thought to myself, why did I move to the city center when actually all the action was happening on the beach? I completely missed that step, crashed on the beach, slept for a few hours, got woken up by the security guy, then took my train back to Osaka, and I think I ended up finishing sleeping in the train, and then I went back to my friend. That's a fun story of when I was young and I was trying to travel around for really cheap in Japan. Since then I've become a bit more creative in my way of approaching it. Alright guys, with that being said, I hope you have enjoyed those little stories. If you have an awesome story like that, leave it in the comments. If you like that video, leave a big thumbs up. Remember, make sure you subscribe for the adventures. And last but not least, make the most of your time on this planet. You never know when it ends. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye-bye.